Casemiro'S arrival at Manchester United was meant to signal the dawn of a new era in midfield dominance, a signing that brought with it the weight of European pedigree, Champions League titles, and an aura of authority that Old Trafford had long been craving. When he first swapped the white of Real Madrid for the red of United in the summer of 2022, the move was hailed as a transfer masterstroke, one that would immediately inject steel, leadership, and experience into a midfield that had been crying out for balance and protection. In his debut season, he largely lived up to that billing, producing big performances in crucial moments, anchoring Erik ten Hag's system, and becoming a key figure in the League Cup triumph that ended United's six-year trophy drought. But football is ruthless, and time waits for no player. Now, whispers are growing louder that the time could be coming for Casemiro to leave Old Trafford, as Manchester United plan for the future and assess the best path forward in their rebuilding process. Casemiro remains a player of immense quality, and his career achievements speak for themselves. Yet, this season has not been easy for the Brazilian veteran. Injuries, questions over his mobility, and the demands of a Premier League that punishes even the slightest drop in intensity have raised doubts about whether he can still consistently deliver at the highest level. At 32, the years of tireless work at Real Madrid, winning 5 Champions League titles and countless other honors, have inevitably taken their toll. When he first arrived, his sharp tackling, game intelligence, and leadership elevated United's midfield. But gradually, some cracks have begun to show. His reading of the game is still there, but his recovery pace has declined, and in a league as fast and physically demanding as England's top flight, that drop-off can become costly. There are also financial implications that cannot be ignored. Casemiro is one of United's highest earners, with a wage packet that reflects his status as an elite-level midfielder. However, in a squad that is being reshaped under the influence of Sir Jim Ratcliffe and Ineos, United are increasingly focused on sustainability, youth, and long-term planning. For a club that has often been criticized for holding onto players past their peak, this could be a moment of difficult decision-making. Offloading a high earner like Casemiro would free up significant funds to reinvest in younger, more dynamic midfielders who can embody the club's future ambitions. Clubs in Saudi Arabia have already been linked with a move for Casemiro, and that interest is unlikely to go away. The Saudi Pro League continues to attract established stars from Europe, offering lucrative contracts and a new platform for players in the twilight of their careers. Casemiro, with his wealth of experience and global profile, would be a marquee signing for any of those clubs. Reports suggest that United could be open to listening to offers if the right bid comes in, particularly if it helps ease the wage bill and provides funds for reinforcements. While Casemiro may still feel he has more to give at the highest level, a move to Saudi Arabia would present a tempting combination of financial reward and a less demanding playing environment. For Manchester United, letting go of Casemiro would be a bittersweet moment. On one hand, it would mark the end of a short but impactful chapter. Casemiro'S leadership, professionalism, and contributions cannot be understated. He gave fans moments of joy, from his commanding displays against top rivals to his crucial goals in cup competitions. On the other hand, the club knows that tough decisions are essential if they are to close the gap on Manchester City, Arsenal, and other title challengers. Midfield dynamism has become the hallmark of successful sides, and United cannot afford to fall behind by holding onto players who no longer match the intensity required. There's also the question of squad balance. United's midfield has options like Casemiro, who represents the future of the club, as well as Mason Mount, Christian Eriksen, and Sofyan Amrabat on loan. Yet, none of them have truly established themselves as the long-term successor to Casemiro in the holding role. That makes the decision even more delicate. If Casemiro is to move on, United must ensure they have the right replacement lined up, someone who can combine defensive solidity with energy and adaptability. Links to younger midfielders across Europe, including players from Ligue 1 and the Bundesliga, suggest the scouting network is already identifying potential targets. Fans remain divided on Casemiro's situation. Some argue that his leadership and winning mentality are priceless, and that his influence in the dressing room cannot be replaced easily. They see him as a mentor figure, especially for younger talents like Manu, who can learn from his experience. Others, however, believe that football is ultimately about output on the pitch, and sentiment cannot drive decision-making. If Casemiro's performances no longer match his wages and reputation, then perhaps the pragmatic choice is to move him on and embrace the next generation. From Casemiro's perspective, he may be weighing his options carefully. He has nothing left to prove in Europe, having conquered the Champions League multiple times and cemented his legacy at Real Madrid. His brief spell at United has been respectable, but it may not reach the fairy-tale heights he once enjoyed in Spain. A move abroad could allow him to continue playing at a high level while avoiding the relentless scrutiny and intensity of the Premier League. Yet, he is a fierce competitor, and part of him may still want to fight for his place, to show he can silence the doubters and contribute meaningfully to United's revival. Ultimately, the decision will likely come down to timing. United's ownership and management must weigh the financial, sporting, and sentimental factors carefully. Casemiro himself must decide whether he still sees his future at the highest level of English football or whether a new challenge, potentially in Saudi Arabia or another destination, is the right move. For now, he remains a Manchester United player, but the writing on the wall is becoming increasingly difficult to ignore. His time at Old Trafford may be nearing its natural conclusion, and if so, his departure would symbolize more than just the exit of a world-class midfielder. It would mark a turning point in United's transition from short-term fixes to long-term planning. As United fans reflect on his impact, they will remember the grit, the passion, and the occasional moment of brilliance Casemiro brought with him. They will also recognize that football is a cycle, and players, no matter how decorated, eventually pass the torch. Casemiro's legacy is already secure, but his next step could shape how both he and Manchester United move forward. If the time really has come for him to leave Old Trafford, it may prove to be a necessary step for both player and club, as they each look to the future with different priorities and ambitions.